I get it, you are scrolling through endless listings of portable PA gear, seeing glossy images of sleek subs that promise thunderous bass, and you're already picturing a packed-out event where the low end finally fills the room. The problem is, a lot of those units look amazing on paper but end up sounding thin or, worse, become a logistical nightmare when you try to actually move them from the truck to the stage. That hesitation is why I wanted to dig into the Bose Sub One, because if you're the kind of person who's tired of buying a sub that either doesn't deliver the punch you need or ends up taking up half the van, you need a clear picture before you click Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Sub One is built to slot right into Bose's L1 PRO line, but it also works with any powered loudspeaker that has a standard line-level input. That flexibility is a big part of its appeal. You can start with a single L1 PRO for a small rehearsal space, then add the Sub One when you need that extra low-frequency oomph for a wedding reception or a corporate keynote. The design is compact, a 7-inch driver inside a cabinet that's just a little larger than a small suitcase. It weighs about 19 pounds, so it's light enough to carry on a single-person trip, yet it still packs enough power to make a noticeable difference. In practice, the biggest win I've seen is the way the Sub One integrates with the L1's onboard EQ. When you pull up the Bose app or the onboard controls, you get an independent sub-level knob. That means you can dial the bass up or down without touching the main volume, which is a lifesaver when you're mixing speech and music in the same set. I tried it at a community theatre rehearsal. The actors were speaking at a low MIC level while the orchestra was playing a piece with deep strings. With the sub turned low, the dialogue stayed clear. When the overture kicked in, I cranked the sub a notch and the floor vibrated just enough to give the audience that immersive feel without overwhelming the vocal track. That sort of on-the-fly adjustment is something you rarely get with generic, third-party subs that require you to mess with external crossover settings or external amplifiers. Now, let's talk about the real-world setup. The Sub One has a single XLR input for the line-level signal and a speaker-level output for chaining to another sub or a passive speaker if you ever need to expand. I've paired it with a Bose L1 Pro 16, and the connection was literally plug-and-play. No need to set a crossover frequency, no external power brick to worry about. The sub draws its power from the same AC source as the L1. The only thing you need to be aware of is the placement. Because the driver is relatively small, the sub performs best when you give it a little breathing room, ideally a few feet away from walls or large reflective surfaces. In a cramped school gym, I had to put the sub on a small riser and angle it slightly toward the audience to avoid a boomy, boxy sound that can happen when the low frequencies bounce straight back at the driver. That's a hidden trade-off. The compact size is great for transport, but you still need to think about acoustic placement to get the cleanest bass. Value for money is where the Sub One really shines. Bose units tend to sit at a premium price point, and the Sub One is no exception. However, when you compare it to buying a separate powered subwoofer and a dedicated crossover box, you're actually saving both cash and cable clutter. The unit's integrated amplifier is perfectly matched to the driver, so you don't have to worry about underpowering or overdriving the speaker. In the field, I've seen people try to pair a cheap 12-inch sub with the L1, only to discover that the amp can't keep up, resulting in distortion at the lower end. The Bose design avoids that pitfall because everything is calibrated from the factory. Who should consider this sub? If you already own a Bose L1 PRO system or any powered PA that has a line-level output and you regularly play in venues where the low end is essential, think weddings, outdoor festivals, school assemblies, or even a DJ gig at a boutique club, this is a solid upgrade. The independent sub-level control lets you tailor the bass to the room size, and the ability to stack multiple Sub One units means you can scale up without buying a completely new system. The rating on Amazon sits at 4.5 stars from over 12,000 reviews, which tells you the majority of users are satisfied with how it adds depth without being a headache to transport. On the flip side, if you're a hobbyist who only does small coffee shop gigs, or you already have a full-range PA that delivers decent bass, you might not feel the impact enough to justify the price. The Sub One isn't a plug-it-in-and-forget-it solution for massive stadiums either. The